The average expert said the Vikings would finish no better than 5-11 this year.
They also said it would be a mistake to bring back Adrian Peterson too soon.
Experts?
Uh-uh.
Pride, purple pride, purple pride, purple pride.
The Pride Report with Fernando Jackson.
All right, this is the final edition of the Pride Report for 2012. Vikings coming off a 10-6 year, a one and done in the playoffs at the wild card to Green Bay and Lambeau. The Vikings, their season started off strong with a very weak schedule. I mean, it was not the hardest of games to play for the Vikings.
Exactly. It looked really promising for us to begin with, and we capitalized on the teams we should have beat.
They did. It all started off week 1 versus the Jaguars at Mall of America Field. Most experts, again, they were telling everyone not to start Adrian Peterson in their fantasy lineups, telling him that he wouldn't get much playing time because he was still...
Usually it's a whole year, a calendar year, right?
Yeah, they said that they expected him to be at full speed by week 8. Week 1, he scores 2 rushing touchdowns against the Jaguars, and Blair Walsh makes his presence felt. A 55-yard field goal in that game that sent the game to overtime, a game the Vikings let slip away a few plays before back. Cecil Shorts.
Yeah, deep one. Yep.
Deep throw, a catch, gave them the lead.
But welcome to the league.
Welcome to the league,
Game
Blair
winner.
Walsh. I believe that got him Special Teams Player of the Week for Week 1. And he would also nail a 38-yarder in overtime to give the Vikings a 26-23 opening week victory. Good way to start the season.
Yes.
You always want to start with a win. After a disappointing Week 2 at Indianapolis, the Vikings would welcome the San Francisco 49ers to town in a game that would upset the league. Didn't even see this coming. Nobody picked the
The
Vikings.
story of the year was everyone picking against the Vikings most of the games every year.
Every game. And the Vikings,
This one
Christian
especially.
Ponder, this was his, at the time, this was the best game of his career.
Oh, yeah.
He would have
to that point.
two throwing touchdowns to Kyle Rudolph, and he would have a nice little 23-yard run against a 49ers defense that doesn't give up many running touchdowns.
No, and that was big for him to step up because we kind of needed that with Adrian needing some help. Take off the pressure. He was doing it with his legs.
Oh, you got that straight. Week 4 started off with a Percy Harvin 105-yard kick return for a touchdown at Detroit. The Vikings would win an ugly one in this game. Offense didn't really show up for either team.
No.
Special team touchdowns. Vikings saw themselves at 4-1 through 5 games. Again, when you have an easy schedule, you want to take advantage of the lightness, as they say, of the schedule. The Vikings were able to do that. A 4-1 start.
It's like sky's the limit
It
after
was.
that start.
The week schedule's over. The meat of the schedule starts up
The
with
division.
really
harder
started
division.
at Washington,
Oh, yeah.
where RG3 ran all over them. Luckily, they had the lowly Cardinals coming to town after that. The Cardinals, that was in the middle of their 11-game losing streak, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they would have losses at Seattle, at Chicago, at Green Bay. They had that loss
that
at
was
home.
a hard road.
Tampa Bay. It was rough, but after a 4-1 start, the Vikings saw themselves at 6-6, and really they needed to win the rest of their games if they wanted any shot at making the playoffs.
Exactly. Where were those 4 games going to go? Wins, losses?
They all had to be W's. The
All had to
playoffs
be.
started in Week 14 at Mall of America Field against Chicago. Harrison Smith would get his second pick 6 of the year in this. Pick 6 of the year in this game.
Got to be rookie of the year.
Giving the Vikings defensive, you think?
Yeah.
I think it's going to go to that guy in Carolina who led the league in tackles at linebacker.
You might be
Probably.
right.
We'll see what happens. Vikings win this game 21-14. The Bears would continue to slip and be a 10-win team and not make the playoffs. That's a shame. Very much a shame. Week 15. Vikings got to keep winning. They traveled to St. Louis. I remember everyone thinking this is when Adrian's run is going to end. His
Exactly.
100-yard streak. The Rams' defense was doing well at that
I believe
time.
they were top 5, maybe top 10 at least.
And in rush defense too.
Yeah.
Their goal was to bottle up Adrian Peterson. First play of the second quarter for Adrian after going 8 carries for 8 yards in the first quarter. 82 yards later, he
Huge
takes it to
run.
the house. It was Adrian S. 212 yards against a team who everyone thought would bottle him up.
Exactly. They thought under 100. at least. And I love that run while he's watching himself on the big screen while he hits the end zone.
Yeah, those are the best ones. And he did that on both of his 82-yarders this year. His second 200-yard game of the year. First one came at Lambeau in a loss to the Packers. Adrian now has 4 200-yard games in his career. That puts him tied for second on the all-time list of 200-yard games.
Oh, really? What's one?
Number 1 with 6 200-yard games, the Juice, O.J. Simpson. Number 1, I don't think you can guess number 1. I'll give you one guess. With 5. Number 2 with 5.
Barry?
Ooh, you won't even get it.
All right.
Tiki Barber.
Oh, wow.
5 200-yard games. Yeah, no one would have gotten that one. So, Adrian, with all those, fourth career 200-yard game, the second one this year. Oh, what a game it was. On to week 16. This is the game they thought, okay, the Vikings got lucky with those last two games.
No way.
They beat Chicago. Went to St. Louis. They were able to win. No way they're going into I believe at the time they were 13 or 12-2.
Yeah.
The 12-2
About
Houston
ready to
Texans.
lock up their number 1 seed
Number
for the
1
playoffs.
seed. Ooh, they slipped to number 3, lost to England in the champ or whatever games. Vikings defense showed up in this game. This was the best defensive showing of the season. They had some good games. They made some plays this year. A full team effort this one. And this is the game we got Chris Cook back. I think that had a lot to do with that one.
On Andre Johnson, he really
shut him down big time. And this was the first time since 2006 the Houston Texans did not score a touchdown in an entire game.
Oh, yeah, and a
2
huge
field goals.
goal line
stand,
in
first
that game
and goal.
Stood out. It was beautiful.
First and goal at the 1-yard line. How?
Yeah.
I can't believe they did it. They did it. Purple pride. On to, and this one, a little note on that game. This was Adrian. This ended Adrian's 8-game, 100-yard streak.
They sort of bottled him up.
Yeah, bottling up Adrian means holding him to 86 yards. Still not a bad performance.
I believe it was 100 total. I think he had 14 receiving.
Yeah,
so
he had some receiving yards. But, you know what, that's not what the record books say, or whatever those books say. Week 17. This is the biggest game of Christian Ponder's career. Biggest game for the Vikings since the NFC Championship game at Narlands.
That's right.
This was Ponder, and Ponder delivered.
He did.
Ponder delivered in this game. And Adrian Peterson had a little help on the side with Ponder. This game started off opening drive. Vikings are able to travel 41 yards, kick a Blair Walsh field goal. Drive number 2. Ends with a 7-yard Adrian Peterson run. 10-0. That's what you want. Double score lead. Okay. They go down again. They kick another 37-yard Blair Walsh field goal. Oh, by the way, that 50-yarder Blair Walsh kicked in this game earlier. 10 for 10 on 50-yarders.
Is that a record for any year?
That is a record by 2. 2 people had done 8 50-yarders. Christian Ponder would hit Jarius Wright, rising star possibly for the Vikings.
Can't wait to see him next year.
I like what he had to do. He's got some speed, and especially we're talking about picking up Dwayne Bowe in some free agency maybe.
Yep, add him, get some more talent
Make sure Percy's happy. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Ponder finds Michael Jenkins in the end zone. We got a 3-yard touchdown. 34-27. Can the defense hold him out of the end zone? No!
Not a chance.
Packers will retie this game. 34-34. Rodgers to Nelson. Vikings getting the ball back. A little over 2 minutes to go. They have to do something. They have to make a play. They just get in field goal range. It doesn't take much to get in field goal range when you have Blair Walsh as your kicker.
Let him do it again. He's done it all year. Game winners.
Biggest play,
game tires.
in my mind, the biggest play of the game. On 3rd and 11, Christian Ponder hits Michael Jenkins. We complain about the receivers all year, not getting open, not going to the ball. Christian Ponder not getting them the ball. This all happened on this play. I love Michael Jenkins for it. I hated him all year except for this play. Huge.
He redeemed himself.
Big time. And then with 2,071 yards on the year, Adrian Peterson takes this handoff, takes it 26 yards, tackled down at the 11.
So close.
You know what? He maybe he could have broken a tackle, gotten those extra 9 yards, but the ball would have been exposed in a game you had to win to make the playoffs.
He was in game. He knew what he had to do.
What's more important? Maybe getting those 9 more yards or winning the game.
Exactly.
Winning the game, Adrian Peterson, class act. Don't worry, you'll get 2,500 next year. Just get patience.
And he still secured MVP.
Easily.
He doesn't have to worry about that.
It might go to one of those white quarterbacks, but it should be
him.
all motherfucking day. with that, Vikings send out the field goal unit. Blair Walsh coming on. They did the whole kicker icing thing, which
Yeah, they
is
tried all that.
stupid. He would nail it from some yards away. 37-34 as time expires. Vikings clinch the final playoff spot. They would go on to lose at Lambeau next week in the rematch.
Yeah.
Christian Ponder unable to play. And you know what?
Bruised elbow out,
It
something
looked,
like that.
yeah, the play, I'll trust the medical staff. If Christian can't play, he couldn't play. And Joe Webb, this will stop any
Yeah, no doubts.
questioning about why we can't have Joe Webb in there. Because Joe Webb is not a good quarterback.
Can only
He's got a
run.
good arm. He can throw it deep. He can't throw it accurately.
Yeah.
He can get open. He's a quick guy, but he can't catch the ball. And he's way too big to be a running back. Because really all you can do with him is a reverse.
Yeah,
But
I don't
if
think there's no spot for him on the field.
I still think he should be the holder
That's not bad.
on extra points,
That's not
on
bad.
field goals. You put Dan because that adds an element.
Then
he
he
could
could be
just
our
hold it.
third stringer. Just an
Yeah, third
emergency
stringer,
QB.
maybe Bethel Thompson, whatever his other 5 names are, can. He
Yeah.
could be like the backup because I'm sure maybe he has more accuracy. I don't know. He was third string this year. Vikings, they did better than any expert thought they did. They can only
much
get
better
better
than I
next
thought,
year.
much
Only
better.
get better than from next year. What do they have to do to get better next year? What do you want to see them do? Free agency and draft.
Mainly, I want to see add a receiver. I want to see another defensive tackle, a cornerback, and that's about it. You got to deal with Hersey too.
Yes.
Figure that out. If you can't sign him,
Percy might be
I
the
hate to
most
say it, but you
important.
gotta trade him.
Yeah, you gotta. If you can't re-sign him, you gotta,
You gotta get
trade
something.
him. I don't want Percy gone at all. Don't get me wrong.
I want him
don't.
signed.
I want something for Percy. Anything.
But that being said, what do you have as needs?
Dwayne Bowe is definitely top of my list as far as free agency
Right,
goes.
that's a good
If
name.
he's available, Dwayne Bowe, and if with Percy, I mean those are 2 number ones, but they're different type of number ones. Dwayne Bowe can be the
Exactly.
they can both do slaughter outside. They can both go deep. They both done deep in their career. Dwayne Bowe's taller, so he can get above people. Percy's
Yeah, he's
got
like
more
the red
power.
zone threat.
Percy,
Jump up
yeah,
and
and
over.
Percy likes to run you over, and he can run you over. So if they can add that, and maybe defensive line or a linebacker, I think Chad Greenway is the only only good linebacker
That's a
we
good
have. We have a
point,
couple above average maybe at best, but they're not as good as Greenway, and they're not as good as some of the other linebackers out there. San Fran,
Yeah, I don't-
they had their 3 starting linebackers were the starters on the
yeah.
All-Pro team, on the same team. Maybe, and you know what? They had Jeff Schwartz, who was injured all year. The offensive line, I think,
yeah.
will be better next year if they can stay healthy again. Yeah, Adrian needs a better offensive line. Whatever, that's where the 2,500 yards will go to. He would have had 2,500 this year had that line been healthy. They're going to be healthy next year. If they get a receiver to take the pressure off of Adrian and Ponder, because that's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure having these shitty receivers. Get Rudolph the ball some more. Get rid of Carlson.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Get rid of him. Maybe get a different complimentary.
Get
tight
rid of
end.
Aroma Shadu.
Yeah, none of him.
Get rid of who's the one guy? Jerome Simpson.
Yeah, sorry.
Hated him. Get rid of all 3 of these guys. Bring in a couple. Jarius Wright, number 3.
Sign one in free agency and draft one.
Boom. But who should they draft? I mean, if it comes to them, well, where would you like to see them lean? As far as
In the draft,
position?
if you can get best position available, but I would say probably like a huge defensive tackle.
You'd rather have defensive
step in.
tackle than
Yeah.
a wide receiver, say?
Depending on talent, if there's a better defensive tackle than receiver, I'd go.
I definitely like the idea of picking the best available position player, whatever's there.
Yeah, we're a
Take whatever's
successful
there.
team. Just take the best player.
Unless it's a running back. They do not need a running
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Aside from running back, take the best possible player at that spot. If it's defense, take defense. If it's some offense, take it.
Yeah.
Just don't,
Can't go
don't
wrong.
freak out or don't pick someone they can trade around and get some more draft picks. But definitely upgrade that defensive line a shtickle. Also those linebackers. Get some wide receivers in here. Next year, any
we're
predictions?
set.
What's your prediction right now for the 2013 Vikings final record?
Let me see. I think they can at least duplicate this 10-6, but maybe they'll go 11-5. If we can add those wide receiver pieces, I'll give them one more win next year.
11-5.
Yeah.
Well, last year I thought they'd go 14-2. I was close. I was closer than most people thought. This year, you know what? I'm not going to change my answer. They can go 14-2 this year. I think with just a couple pieces in place and Adrian back there, the Vikings are good to go offensively. Defense, maybe pick up another. I like drafting the defense. You want
Yeah,
your
get the
defense
young
to be
guys
young,
coming
young,
in.
quick, bigger guys who can want to just lay out all these people named Aaron Rodgers and shit. With that being said, I like a 14-2 Vikings, number 1 overall seed, probably winning the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody slowing them down in 2013. Purple Pride all the way. Your 2013 Viking Super Bowl champion Minnesota Vikings will be covering them all next year. It's been a fun 2012 with Smelligs,
Hey, see you next year.
Fernando. Stay purple.